get down to business? Join seasoned entrepreneur, community leader, and Army veteran Scott Shalom Klein, who will take you behind the scenes with those who work in America's small business scene and speak with leaders making an impact, creating jobs, and telling their story in entrepreneurship. So let's get down to business. On AM 560, The Answer, here's your host, Shalom Klein.
And indeed, we're all about small business jobs and entrepreneurship. We talk all about small business here. Thrilled to kick off this week's episode of Get Down to Business with two absolutely remarkable guests joining us. It's Michelle Velasquez and Esmeralda Samaniego. These two proud Chicago women both honorably served our country, and they are now the co-authors of a powerful new book titled Latinas in Law Enforcement. This book shines a spotlight on the incredible and inspiring journeys of Latino women who have made a significant impact in law enforcement across the nation. And this project is already resonating deeply with communities and organizations that champion diversity, resilience, and public service. I'm thrilled to welcome Michelle and Esmeralda. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Shalom. Thank you for having us here today.
Absolutely. Thank you both for your service to our country. Can you tell us a bit about your backgrounds and what led each of you to pursue a career in law enforcement? Let's start with you, Michelle.
Absolutely. So I actually left the agency about 2 years ago, and I was sparked to join law enforcement simply because I felt that we needed more women, and especially Latina women within the federal government. So I was a federal law enforcement officer for 16 years. But, you know, motherhood came, and I have 4 children, and then a little financial independence along the way, and I decided that it was time to pivot. And so I wanted to share my story and bring other women as well.
Amazing story. And let's hear yours, Esmeralda. Tell us about it.
Hi, everyone. Esmeralda, thank you so much for having us. Actually, for me, it started as a childhood dream. I was drawn to the uniform at a very young age, playing cops and robbers with my brothers and sisters. And I just decided to pursue the career in law enforcement. If once you read the book, you'll see once 9/11 happened, I just knew I had a calling, and I applied. And 22 years later, here I am, still a federal law enforcement officer.
Yeah, well, the book, it's a must read, and we'll make sure our listeners can find it. So what inspired you guys to co-author this book, Latinas in Law Enforcement? Was there a specific moment or realization that sparked this initiative?
Definitely. It was really to share our story with the community, especially with everything that's transpiring, right? And the need of women in general, but also the need of Latina women, not only to share our story, but to share the resiliency that every woman goes through, and more so the importance of having us on the inside. You know, as Latinas, we were seen, at least I was, as a traitor, as who's in, federal law enforcement, the negative connotations and, thoughts that people give us. But the reality is that they need people with hard work ethic, with our language skills, with our empathy, the balancing motherhood. I mean, there's so many things that we need, and we just really wanted to share our story, not only with everyone, but also to motivate the future women to come.
Yeah, I agree. Exactly. We just wanted to create a book to celebrate the often unheard stories of just Latinas in law enforcement. And like Michelle said, representation matters. And we just wanted to, inspire future leaders also, and show that our presence in the field is strong, impactful, and growing. So this book is kind of that for every Latina who's wondering if she belongs in law enforcement. The answer is absolutely yes.
Amazing. And you highlight some inspiring stories. Yours are amazing. Without giving too much away, can you share a glimpse into one or two of the types of stories that readers will find in the book?
Absolutely. Some of the stories, and they're all, it's a book of 14 women, and from state, local, and federal law enforcement backgrounds. Something in common that you obviously found was the resiliency of women, right? What triggered us to join. And some of the stories are amazing, from military backgrounds to single mothers to mothers who were domestic violence survivors who are now helping the other women on the other side. So that's a little bit of what I'm going to share.
Yeah, Michelle said it. These stories aren't just powerful; they're deeply connected with our human side. So I think a lot of people could relate to them once they read them.
Yeah. So what have been some of the significant challenges or stereotypes that Latino women, especially again, yourselves have faced in law enforcement, and how have they been overcome? And I'm also curious, of course, what some of the most rewarding aspects of your careers have been as you share these stories. Whoever would like to go first.
I think rewarding, definitely. Esmeralda and I were part of a law enforcement explorer group. It was to see our explorers who were students, high school students, cadets, now officers in the field. And I was in a team that I really utilized and used them all. It was just a simple call of relationship, and just to see their growth and to now see the impact that they're making in the respective communities. So for me, that was an impactful part of it. But the second, to answer the other part of the question, was some of the things that we faced for sure was definitely feeling like a traitor, or women don't belong in the field, or moving up the ranks, right? Some of, whether it's with your own male counterparts. And in my story in particular, I share an incident when I was in the academy where a fellow colleague did not want to partner with me because I was a female. And so, a lot of the things that we don't talk about.
Mm-hmm. One of the major challenges is being underestimated too. Many of us have had to prove ourselves, again, because it is a male dominated career, so there's a lot of challenges, just balancing culture, family expectations, and demanding, the nature of this career, but the success is where Latinas are rising into leadership, and they're becoming the supervisors and the trainers and the role models, especially like Michelle said in our Explorer Youth program. We see a lot of youth following our footsteps, and that makes me so happy. And, we're there, we're earning awards and commanding units and, changing the culture of law enforcement by bringing, like Michelle mentioned earlier, empathy, strength, and community connection to the forefront. So
amazing. And again, telling the story is so important. I'm chatting with the co-authors of a fantastic new read. It's called Latinas in Law Enforcement. I'm chatting with Michelle and Esmeralda, two proud Chicago women who have served in these capacities, and they're co-authors of this book, which tells amazing, amazing stories. And we've already briefly touched on it, but I want to go back to it because I think it's so important for our listeners. What message do you guys have for young Latino women who might be considering a career in law enforcement?
For me, that it's okay to be the first and only. And I walked into, being in the federal government, but I walked into many rooms being the first and the lowest ranking at times, probably the only Latina. And I was part of a narcotics team, the only Latina female for a while. And so it's okay to be the first and only. And sometimes it's going to take you to break that.
I agree. Believe in yourself, never stop dreaming and believing, and, don't just apply, because a lot of, I feel the youth right now, they just don't feel that they're ever going to get that far. So they just don't even take the steps needed, So just like they say in Spanish, si se puede, just keep believing, keep dreaming.
Amazing. And finally, as we come to a conclusion in our conversation, which I've absolutely thoroughly enjoyed, and of course, we're going to make sure our listeners can find the book. Beyond the book, what other initiatives or conversations do you hope that Latinas in law enforcement will spark?
Besides sharing our story, we have committed proceeds to the book for scholarships, our community, educating our community, to show that we are citizens, mothers, neighbors, family members, and just for them to see that we're part of the community.
Yeah, giving back, it's just planting seeds for the next generation, just to give back and open doors, create pathways. When I grew up, I didn't know about a youth program, or I didn't have mentors. So we just want to be that for the future generations.
Yeah, well, you guys have broken a lot of barriers, as you have said. There's nothing wrong with being the first, nothing wrong with being the only, and I'm sure that many additional barriers will be broken because of the inspiration in Latinas in law enforcement. A must read, and I want to conclude with that. How can our listeners find the book and learn more about this important initiative?
The book can be found on our website, latinasinlawenforcement.com, and it's also on Amazon.
Well, that makes things really easy. Well, any closing message from either of you that you want to make sure is highlighted to our listeners?
I do want to add something exciting, that we have the Spanish version coming out. We plan to launch it in sometime between September 15 and October 15, since it's Heritage Month. So be excited to find it in Spanish too for our Spanish speakers.
Amazing.
And just to add for the rest, be the first and only, and it doesn't just mean in the Latino community, but for women and men in general, just it's okay to be the first and only.
And lastly, we do want to do volume 2. So if you're out there and you want to be in our volume 2, don't be afraid to reach out.
Well, they're very easy to reach. Really appreciate the time. Michelle, Esmeralda, thank you so much for inspiring our listeners. We're going to squeeze in a quick break here on the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. You can download any of our past 12 plus years of shows via my website, syklein.com, syklein.com. Of course, go on your favorite podcast app. Just search Get Down to Business, but make sure you rate, review, and share so others can find it. Quick break. You're listening to Get Down to Business. We'll be right back.
Thank you for having us.